Deep beneath the ocean's surface, a new gold rush is beginning. And what's at stake is a trillion-dollar treasure. But to get it, we must drill into the last truly wild, unexplored place on Earth. So here's the dilemma. Would you sacrifice one pristine environment to save another? Stay with me to find out why this isn't as simple as it sounds. Every day, our demand for tech, for batteries, for devices, future of green energy grows, and the minerals that power it all are running out on land. The world's known reserves of critical minerals like cobalt, nickel, and manganese are dwindling, and the search for new supplies has become a geopolitical obsession. Now, countries and corporations are turning their eyes to a place that holds more untapped minerals than all the continents combined, the abyssal plains of the deep seabed. This isn't science fiction anymore. A global race is on, led by multinational companies and backed by powerful nations, all vying for control of a resource that's just sitting there on the ocean floor. But before we race to the ocean floor, we must first look at a hidden truth. Today, the world gets the majority of its cobalt from the Democratic Republic of Congo, a nation grappling with instability and human rights issues. Most of our nickel comes from countries like Indonesia, which is seeing a rapid expansion of its mining industry. And the largest producer of manganese is South Africa, with vast reserves in a single region. These land-based mines often come with significant environmental costs, like deforestation, water pollution, and habitat destruction. They also frequently raise serious ethical questions regarding labor practices and local community impact. Many argue that turning to the seabed could reduce or even one day significantly curtail these destructive land-based operations. This is a powerful part of the dilemma. But is it a guarantee? The pressure to find an alternative is immense. And this brings us to a crucial question. What if the solution to all our problems lies hidden, in plain sight, on the seafloor? The existence of these potato-sized metal rocks, known as polymetallic nodules, has been known since the late 19th century. They were first discovered during the famous Challenger expedition of the 1870s, which incidentally also found thousands of new deep-sea species. Polymetallic nodules are concretions of concentric layers of manganese and iron hydroxides that form around a central core. They grow incredibly slowly, a few millimeters over a million years, by precipitating minerals from the surrounding seawater onto a nucleus, which can be anything from a shark's tooth to a rock fragment. But for a century, they were just a scientific curiosity. That all changed during the Cold War. As geopolitical tensions rose, superpowers began looking for any advantage. The United States and the Soviet Union saw these ocean floor minerals as a new front in their covert war. In the 1970s, American billionaire Howard Hughes unveiled a massive, high-tech ship called the Glomar Explorer, claiming its mission was to mine the deep ocean floor. But that was just the cover story. In a declassified CIA operation known as Project Azorian, the Glomar Explorer's true purpose was to secretly raise a sunken Soviet nuclear submarine from the bottom of the Pacific. The deep-sea mining narrative was just a genius-level piece of espionage, and in a strange way, it proved that recovering objects from the abyss, while incredibly difficult, was possible. This moment lit the fuse on a race that, to this day, has never really ended. The initial vision for this global resource was one of equity and fairness. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, adopted in 1982, declared the deep seabed and its resources as the common heritage of humankind. No single country owns it, and all activities are to be overseen by an international body, the International Seabed Authority, or ISA. The rules were meant to ensure that the benefits of mining would be shared, with a focus on protecting the marine environment. But as we know from history, where there is treasure, there is conflict. For decades, the ISA has struggled to finalize a mining code, the regulations needed to begin exploitation. But a single country's action has now brought this race to a fever pitch. A small Pacific island nation, Nauru, sponsored a company's application for a mining license and invoked a clause in the UNCLOS agreement, the infamous 2-year rule. This rule legally requires the ISA to fast-track the creation of regulations, or failing that, to consider an application even without a full set of rules. This set off a political firestorm. Now, the race has two clear sides. Those who believe the time has come to mine the ocean floor, and a growing number of countries, including France, Germany, and many Pacific Island nations, who are calling for a complete moratorium, arguing that the environmental risks are too great and the rules are not yet ready. But today's race is not just an engineering challenge, it's an ethical and environmental one. The deep ocean floor is far from a barren wasteland. It's home to some of the planet's most unique and ancient ecosystems, to delicate, long-living sponges. For our evidence, we turn to the scientists. They warn that the act of mining these nodules, which can take millions of years to form, could create massive, long-lasting sediment plumes. These plumes would smother life for miles, introduce heavy metals into the food chain, and destroy habitats that took millennia to form. The evidence shows that tracks from a small-scale mining test in the 1970s are still clearly visible on the seabed today, with no signs of recovery. Furthermore, there's no guarantee that seabed mining will completely replace land-based mining. It could simply become an additional source, increasing overall environmental impact. So the core question remains: is the promise of green technology worth the potentially irreversible destruction of the last unexplored wilderness on our planet? So, is this a new frontier of discovery, or are we repeating the mistakes of history. The future of our technology and the fate of a hidden world are on the line. Now, knowing the full picture, the current impact of land-based mining, and the unknown risks of the deep sea, I ask you again, would you sacrifice one pristine environment to save another, or risk damaging both? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. With the echoes heard and the evidence laid bare, until next time, keep listening for the echoes.